Hello everyone, I'm Keith Hutchings from the Comfortable Home Project, and I'm here today with Jane Kern from Bank Australia, and she's going to talk about a product that they're offering, which is a discount on mortgages for houses that are built as 7 stars or better, and for improvements in the house that bring it up in its energy efficiency. So I have to start by saying to you that I am not a financial advisor. I don't pretend to be one on the internet. So what we're doing today is the nature of a casual conversation with a friend rather than financial advice, because I'm neither legally allowed to give financial advice nor in any way qualified. But I'm really interested in this product that they offer. So Jane, if we could just start with you, who are you and what do you do for Bank Australia?
Sure, thanks, Keith. So Jane Kern is my name, and my role at Bank Australia is Senior Manager of Impact Finance. So our Impact Finance team exists to grow the bank's lending that has a positive impact for people and the planet. And my particular role is around, measuring and reporting on the impact of what we do, and also working with the rest of the bank to do retail programs that have a positive impact for people and the planet. One of the specific things that I've worked on a lot over the last year or two is our clean energy home loan, which is an example of a mortgage product that's got a specific planet link to it.
And you actually you're the creator or the instigator, the inventor, what's the right term for this product?
So I guess I was one of the key people internally kind of bringing everyone together. So we need to work really closely with our product team that designs products, as well as our lending team that actually goes out and has the customer conversations, our credit assessors that need to check all the evidence. There are lots of people involved in that, I suppose. I guess I connected a lot of those up, as well as working together with our external partner, the Clean Energy Finance Corporation, to bring it all to life.
Sometimes the most important thing is having the idea and then being willing to push it along until it happens. So can you tell us a little bit about this product? How is it different from what is generally on offer from other lending institutions?
So the Clean Energy Home Loan basically incentivizes customers to either build or buy a new green home or make ambitious green upgrades to an existing home. The way that it incentivizes people is via an interest rate discount. So the way that it's structured at the moment is that customers get a 0.2% discount for up to 5 years for meeting the green criteria of the product.
So that just lasts for the first 5 years of the loan, and then it would revert to whatever the normal amount.
That's right. We went with the approach of having, a bigger discount over a shorter period with the product, just because it can sometimes cost a bit more to buy green or do green upgrades. So giving people a big discount at a time close to when they have that expense was the approach we decided to take.
In creating this product, what led you to make the decision that this would be a good thing to do?
So Bank Australia is a customer-owned bank. The largest portion of our lending book is mortgages. And so when we think about things like our climate impacts and how we can help our customers to live more sustainably, their homes is a really big thing. And because we're owned by our customers, we check in with them really regularly about which issues are important to them and how they'd like the bank to take action on those. And clean energy transition, climate action always come out top kind of issues for customers. So I guess applying that lens to it, it's like, well, what could we do in terms of clean energy transition that links up to our biggest product category, and that's a green mortgage essentially. Green mortgages are quite common, particularly in Europe. There's a very large-scale pilot project going on at the moment for green mortgages, and lots of banks have had them for quite some time. So it's a concept that's, proven to work really well in other places, and, we thought there was a really good opportunity to introduce it here. I think the time was really right for it as well. So Bank Australia actually did have a green mortgage product quite some time ago that was probably a little bit before its time. But we're kind of looking at it now, and the market is almost there. There's a lot more option out there for, just building to a bit above code and having a really comfortable home. So it really seemed like the right time to do it. I think we were also very fortunate to then partner with the Clean Energy Finance Corporation to, I guess, help create the product and set the parameters around it. They had an initial investment in Bank Australia to help us through. They ended up funding the first year of the loan, helping to fund the customer discount on that. So all those things kind of just came together for us to get it off the ground.
Just right now they've been so much focused on renewable energy, and I think in order for renewable energy to succeed, we also need to cut demand, and this is a great way to do it. So what was your process in introducing it? Have you done a lot of promotion of the product in making people aware that it exists?
Yeah, so I guess our process in creating it, we've got a lot of internal things to do behind the scenes to create a product. And as I said, we kind of worked with the Clean Energy Finance Corporation to set the criteria. One thing that was very important for us was that we were being ambitious. So I guess the National Construction Code is implemented a little bit differently in most of the states, but generally speaking, the minimum requirement at the moment is to have a 6-star home. And I mean, that's still good in relation to a lot of the building stock out there, but we didn't think that building to code was enough to really warrant getting a fairly large discount. And so we sort of went, well, what would be the appropriate level at which to set the bar? And we went, well, 1 full star above code would be great. So all of that sort of thinking needed to go on behind the scenes. We needed to train our staff, etc., and sort of get ready to launch. And so we launched in January 2020. And since then, we have done some promotion of it, but we did a little bit around launch. We've done a bit throughout the year. We're a long-term sponsor of Sustainable House Day, for example, so that did a little bit around that. And I think now, so just recently, I guess this initial support from the Clean Energy Finance Corporation has been fully allocated for the moment, and that sort of was the impetus for us to then say, well, we'll launch our organic version of the product, which is, the discount is backed by Bank Australia, and we've kind of bedded that down now, which is fantastic, and that's sort of got us to the stage where we're ready to really promote it a bit more and look to scale.
You mentioned that one other bank has had something similar to this in the past. Do you see other banks going down this road? Do you think that's likely?
There have been a couple of other banks that have had smaller scale ones. I know Bendigo Bank has had a green mortgage product for quite some time, and I believe a couple of other customer-owned banks. I think, though, one thing that we'd really love to see is more scale. And I believe, it's a good thing, I suppose, that as I said, in Europe now, it's reached the stage at which there are quite major banks participating in green mortgage pilots, and we'd absolutely love to see that sort of scale reach here in Australia. I mean, I think it's fantastic that we've been able to, prove up this concept of linking home loans to a 7-star NATO's rating. I think, though, if we really want to see the change that we need, then we absolutely need more banks adopting it.
It seems weird that you have to incentivize people to do this, but here we go, we're incentivizing people to do this. So what's the uptake been like so far, in terms of numbers? Are you getting much interest in this product?
Yeah, absolutely. So, we were really thrilled with the uptake in the first year. The CEFC's initial commitment was funding for $60 million worth of mortgages. And that got taken up at twice the speed we had expected. So they actually ended up extending their funding to 90 million, which was great. So what that looks like in terms of numbers, now we've reached about 150 households that have taken up the product, which is great. And, as I said, sort of stronger than we had probably expected, particularly given the year that it's just been.
Yeah.
But I think there's potential to keep scaling that up a lot more.
And do you have an idea, just in terms of numbers and things, whether that's mostly new construction or has that been retrofits, renovations?
Yeah, so about 60% of it has been new construction. So we're seeing the strongest uptake in new construction in that sort of 7-star plus pathway, we're calling it. And we've had then about, most of the rest of them have been then property upgrades. So, there are so many older homes out there that probably aren't ever going to reach 7 stars, but there are a lot of things that can be done, and it's really important to try to, uplift those, reduce their electricity consumption, make them more comfortable to live in as well. So yeah, we've been pleased to see the mix there.
Have you looked at all about the demographics? We're really trying to get an understanding of who is interested in these types of houses. So I'm curious what the kind of age range, gender range, those kind of things of who's taking up these loans.
We're seeing sort of more mature home buyers in terms of there aren't as many first home buyers coming through under this at the moment. A few first home buyers probably going into very energy efficient apartments and that. But I think a lot of this we're kind of seeing is people that have probably, already owned a home and now are thinking more carefully about the type of home they might like to have next time around, I suppose. And for the property upgrade one, that's often tending to be people that have been in their home for a little while and once again are thinking, oh, well, actually we could do this and we could do that, to make it better.
Asking a question that I already know the answer to, but why is it so important to you to have people living in clean energy homes?
So my husband is German, and I've lived for a while in Germany and Switzerland, where the homes are just very well insulated and, as you sort of described, are very capable of staying warm, and often without, the types of temperatures we have in Australia, you really don't need that much heating or cooling or anything.
Yep.
For me, it just seems quite logical, and I wonder why we would do anything else. So I think, for me personally, that driver combined with the background in sustainability and the knowledge of what we need to shift, to tackle the climate crisis, it just seems like a bit of a no-brainer, I suppose.
Yeah, I'm the same. It's kind of baffling to me. And all the Europeans that I speak to just keep saying, why are your houses so cold here? And it's like, yeah, it doesn't have to be like that. Now you're moving into a much more public kind of view of this product. What's your goal for 2021? Where to next?
I'd really love to see us getting to the stage where we can build this into more of our lending conversations, just with every customer that walks in through the door, so that they know that even if it's not something that they're thinking about right now, we can plant the seed and let people think about what they might be able to do in future with the home that they're buying. I think, as I said, there's opportunity for us to just keep growing it and get the message out there to more people. I think, one of the key roles that we can play potentially is also just around sort of normalizing this. As we said, it's building to a higher standard. It's sometimes seen as something a little bit niche and also a little bit hard sometimes. So I think if we're able to communicate more with our customers about some of the great things that customers have done with their houses, what might be possible for you, or all of that sort of thing, then that can hopefully help to just get everyone used to the idea and help it become more commonplace in Australia. There's a lot of opportunity there, particularly when we can talk with customers who are at the construction stage of their building. There, it's actually very often, if you haven't got your plans yet, there's very often some decisions that you can make that, get you a lot higher energy rating without a heap of extra costs. So, I think, as I said, that's all just kind of part of getting people to think about this stuff a little bit earlier in the process and hopefully getting some good results out of it.
Do you think you could go further in encouraging people? So right now the standard is 7 stars that you're encouraging. Do you think there's a way that the bank can push people to go to even higher levels of energy efficiency in their building?
Yeah, look, potentially. So during the phase that the Clean Energy Finance Corporation was supporting the product, we did have an option there that had a higher discount for high energy efficiency homes. That was kind of a struggle, I suppose, for communication with customers and staff of, how many different variants of the product you have and all the different lists and all of that sort of thing. So at that point in time, we made the decision to simplify and just focus on the 7-star plus and property upgrade. But yeah, I'd absolutely see, potential to do that again down the track.
With your experience in working with this, do you think there's a reason that people are not interested in sustainability, that they're not taking up this offer that you are putting out there? Have you done any research on what actually makes people go in the other direction?
No, look, I haven't got specific research around that. I'd probably just suggest that I don't think people are really actively not looking at sustainability. I think it's probably just something that people don't know necessarily a lot about. And I think there are a lot of competing priorities when you're trying to build a home and, stay sane, I think. So it's, I think there's a little way to go before it just becomes really mainstream. Some of the larger scale builders are, doing some excellent pilot concepts and that where they're trying to mainstream, sustainable building a bit more. So I think there's probably, there's a lot that could happen to help make the decision easier for people along the way.
And for people who are considering sustainability, is there any kind of advice that you'd like to give to people having worked in this area and living in this area for a long time?
It's probably worth the extra effort and looking into it. We touched on this before, but you're likely going to live in your home for quite some time, and it actually makes a really big difference if you're comfortable throughout summers and winters. It's become all the more important over the last year for many people working from home. I'm in Melbourne; it's quite cold sometimes in winter.
Yeah.
So it's I think that particularly with us all spending more time in our homes, the little bit of extra effort to think about how you could make it more comfortable for the long term is really worthwhile.
Yeah, I think for a lot of people, they discovered in doing their building, in being in lockdown, no one had ever spent as much time in their house before, and they discovered just how bad they were when it's like, yeah, you spend a couple hours at night, yeah, you come home, you turn the air conditioner on, it's no big deal. When you're there for all day and you realize that in order to survive in this house, you have to run the air conditioner the entire time, and as soon as you turn it off, it turns into an instant oven, has been a wake-up call, I think, for a lot of people. And we have come to just about to the end of our questions. So the last question, which I love to ask people, is what are you passionate about aside from your work, which you are very clearly quite passionate about, this, bringing this world change through finance. But what else are you passionate about?
I think I'm very fortunate that lots of my work has the opportunity to do things that I'm passionate about and would probably be doing in my spare time if I weren't doing it at work. I get to work across quite a broad range of sustainability things and relating them to finance, which I find super fascinating. But if I get any spare time, I also just love to do things like cook and read and spend time with family and friends. But
probably not a lot of time for reading if you've got young children at home. So, except for reading to them, of course. But yes.
Yes, I'm reading Matilda at the moment, which was one of my favorite books as a kid. So I feel like I'm winning there.
Yeah, it's a win-win. But yeah, the odd occasional grown-up book that doesn't have pictures in it, and isn't a document for your work would be a blessing, wouldn't it? That's been fantastic. It's so interesting to learn more about it. I'd heard about the product, but I really didn't know that much about it. And yeah, hopefully we can help you get the word out to people and they'll take a look and decide if it's the right thing for them. So yeah, and hopefully we'll get more houses that are comfortable to be in built.
Lovely.
Thanks everyone for watching. Wasn't that so interesting how a financial institution can be at a core part of climate change and encouraging us to build better? And I really love Jane's passion for her work. I hope you enjoyed this interview as much as I have. And yeah, watch, there'll be more. Bye-bye.